To me, these two games against winnable opponents, and I say winnable with quotation marks, if they can start off, reason for optimism. Another reason why is they're getting their two all pros back, where Kyle is basically has a track record with either of them go down, the offense isn't as very good or as creative.
Yeah, let's talk about those reinforcements. So Trent Williams coming back, Deebo Samuel coming back, maybe a week for Christian McCaffrey to get healthier. Aaron Banks is going to miss a little time, and that's a significant loss. But Randy Gregory's getting more acclimated to the system, and now Chase Young is here. And Washington didn't want him, but he's going to be playing with Nick Bosa, who signed off on him, and people think Nick Bosa is going to bring the best out of him. How much does this change the Niners' fortunes going forward, these reinforcements coming back?
I think it helps them immensely if they can get their coverage to match what they're doing. And I think it helps immensely that they've done this before. I think they just need to go back to the basics and remember what they used to do prior. And I think Wilkes needs to come on the sideline. And I think Wilkes is a pretty good teacher from what I can tell. And I think he would benefit from that as well. And I think at the end of the day, the overlying message should be keep it simple. It's not broke. Ironically, Grant, defenses are doing to the 49ers what the 49ers defense do to other teams, right? They tackle, they don't let them get yards after the catch, and frankly, they wait for them to make a mistake. And the 49ers have been doing that on offense. They've been giving the ball over, much like the defense was doing prior to this. I think keeping it simple, relying on your playmakers, they should be fine. And I think having Deebo back will help Kyle do one thing to prevent those five-man things, screens, right? I'm not really sure why no one else on the 49ers can run a screen other than Deebo, but apparently that's the case because when he leaves, that whole outside screen game goes away. It's not there anymore.
No, it's gone. Deebo's so important to this offense because he just makes it so easy when he's doing his thing. It feels like if he could come back and give him what he gave him 2 years ago. Remember, they were 2-4. Mm-hmm. They went to Chicago. They were losing at halftime.
Yes.
Like they were about to be 2-5. That was about to be the end. And all of a sudden he just went crazy. I hit like an 80-yard screen. He just took over the whole game, took over the whole season. He has the capability. Christian McCaffrey's already given his all. George Kittle's given his all. Brandon Ayuk given his all. Deebo, if you could join the party, stay healthy, and sort of turn back the clock to 2 years ago, man, this team just might win the Super Bowl. I think so much depends on Deebo.
And I would want to push back on anyone who ever says that Brandon Ayuk is better than Deebo or a better, is gone up. Is that I have seen Deebo can take over a game, and Brandon had opportunities to take over games with Deebo gone, and he didn't.
That's true.
He didn't.
Deebo can also disappear for like a season and a half.
This is true.
You know
but the threat
at least Brandon Ayuk is consistent in his like good, not greatness. Like Deebo can be great. Deebo can also be like, what the hell happened to you?
It's extremes. I get it. Get it. But yes, I agree. But I also feel that some of the things that Brock can get away with happens because Deebo's on the field. And now that he's not, he can't get away with it. One thing I will say for reason for optimism.
I was disappointed in Ayuk the last few weeks, man. He had some like catches, some drops.
I got that field goal if he didn't hit him right in the face, right at halftime.
Yeah, man. Like if you're an elite wide receiver, you make those catches, you take over those games. Like, yeah, I'm with you. He's not an elite wide receiver. I don't know that Deebo is either. He can be an elite playmaker, but I don't think he's been an elite playmaker in a couple of years. If he could do that, that'd be great.
I think
because he has that gear and Ayuk doesn't, to your point.
Correct. And I think part of the team, remember the team was centered around their playmakers and some Joe Schmo throwing the ball. And now we're going to pretend like, the Brock is the issue when the other components aren't living up to their bargain as well. I think it's a systemic thing that needs to get fixed, from the defense to the offense. Optimism, I will say that there's a lot of good teams right now where their quarterback is leading the league or is up there. Philadelphia, Hurts has more interceptions than Brock Purdy. I live in Western New York, Bills country. Josh Allen has more interceptions than Brock Purdy. So I think at the end of the day, I think everyone just needs to realize is that he's learning when to do it and when not to.
But like, let's just be honest. Like, he's like a stock Purdy that went from penny stock to, I don't know. I don't do.
He's Bitcoin. Kind of stuff. I'll go Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's Bitcoin, right? Like all of a sudden it just takes off and people are like, is this real? Is this real? And all of a sudden it goes, oh, and people are like, see. That's what I was counting on. And I think that's why people are so intrigued right now, because it blew up too fast. It's coming back down to earth fast. And it's like, is this going to stabilize and be like a consistent starting quarterback, or was it just a flash in the pan? I don't know.
So Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jimmy Garoppolo. Is it such a bad thing if he's in the middle?
Don't put him that close to Joe Montana. They were touching. Your hands were touching right there.
You know what I mean? Like if he comes right in the middle between there. Like
I don't even think he's Jeff Garcia right now. Jeff Garcia. One of the biggest comebacks in playoff history. What was he now? 20-something?
Against the Giants? Yes, it was. Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And they should have beaten the Tampa Bay.
And people say like, oh, like Joe Montana struggled a little bit when he was younger. He didn't win so much. He was on a rebuilding team. Let's be honest. Brock Purdy is not on a rebuilding team whatsoever.
No.
It's a team that made Jimmy Garoppolo look good.
Right. And he's out of the league, essentially. He's not going to start a game collecting checks, but, essentially. But I do think the other thing that you can see, Grant, the reason for optimism is that I think Brock is probably mentally the toughest quarterback that Kyle has had in a while. And I say this because Kyle broke Jimmy. Jimmy was not ever himself after that injury. And everyone
is Kyle breaking Brock right now? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's the
why
thing.
Why is this a losing streak? How much longer is this going to go? Why is Brock committing more turnovers every game? Like, is Kyle breaking him? Because Kyle's not nice to people after losses. He's not the kind of guy who goes up to Brock at his locker, puts his arm around him, and is like, "Hey, buddy, we'll get him." No,
but he did mention how. When have you ever heard Kyle say, that question that you asked him? That was as close as him defending a quarterback that I've ever seen him do. He hasn't done that. He never did that for Jimmy.
The way I interpreted that was that Kyle was not expecting that question, didn't want that question to be asked, and was angry at me for asking it. Not prepared. I don't think he thought through his answer at all. I think he sort of was kind of caught flat-footed. So, I mean, if he was prepared for it, he could have said something a whole lot more elegant defending his quarterback other than there's no reason to. Yeah, there is. I could give you 6 reasons in the last 3 games why you could think about it. So anyway, that's the way I interpreted it.